Hello, everyone. We're in Naples for the 11th edition of Med Dialogues, the annual conference organized by ISPI and the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs in order to discuss the key challenges shaping the Mediterranean and the Middle East. And we are with Reem Turkmani, assistant professor and the director of a Syria research program at the London School of Economics. Thank you, Reem, for joining us.
Thank you for hosting me.
First of all, let's start from this. Almost a year ago, Bashar al-Assad was overthrown by the HTS-led coalition, led by the current transitional president, Ahmed al-Shara. To summarize the situation, can we say that Syrians today still feel the joy and the hope that came from that moment, or are they now more concerned about the challenges of the present and the future, of course?
I would say it's mixed feeling. I just came back from Syria. The joy is still there. It's still unbelievable. I mean, did it really happen? Are we even, as exiled opposition, able to go and walk around the streets? It's still unbelievable. But for the people living there, the concerns are getting more and more real every day, because as you said, it's almost a year, and many of the promises are yet to be materialized. Yet again, this is extremely challenging situation. Any authority who would have taken the power over after Bashar would have faced immense challenges. Because let's remember, even before Bashar Assad fell down, he was not in control of all the country, right? The country was very fragmented. Even in the northwest, where al-Shara had his power, there were fragmentations and multiple forces. So it is challenging, but foreign authority like HTS and al-Shara, which comes from Syrian certain history, very exclusive ideology, is even 10 times more challenging.
The new Syrian government, as you said, must confront a lot of issues and challenges right now. But also, it have to confront also some centrifugal forces, we can call like that, linked to some ethno-religious groups, such as the Alawites at the center of sectarian violence last March, the Druze, with whom there was a big crisis in July, if I recall correctly, and then the Kurdish-led SDF in the northeast. So what is the government doing, and what should it do to ensure their full integration in the new system?
Look, Syria is one of the most diverse countries on this planet. I mean, we have people from different ethnic backgrounds, different religions, different sects and subsects and sub-subsects. And in the past, we really lived with each other. I wouldn't say it wasn't ideal. Not everyone was equal, but it wasn't such a big issue. What is your religion? What's your sect? The war took us in different direction. It really pushed people even to concentrate like certain sect or ethnicity to be in certain geography, and the polarization increased, okay? So inheriting this, it's extremely important to put the country together, not as geographies only, but also as identities. And to do that only based on identity will not work. So it's a dilemma. You have to bring the Druze, you have to bring the Alawites, you have to bring everyone on board. And right now, the reality, no matter what they're saying, all these people from minority background, they feel outside. They completely feel outsiders. Some of them, they cannot even imagine a situation where can join in the new government. Like in Suwaida, the rift is so big. And the cost with the Alawite community, there's a lot of pain. There were massacres committed there in March, but they know there is no other way. There is no external backer. There is no nearby geography they can escape to. There's only the sea. So they are coming to terms to the reality that we have to work with the government, but still there's so many thorny issues to negotiate. With the Northeast is even more complicated. So the challenge is that to start with, the new government has to create space that is based on these particular needs, particular identity. But moving forward, Syria cannot be governed based on identity. It's not going to work. There's no way it can work, right? It's not going to become Lebanon. We don't even have what it takes to recreate the Lebanon model, which is really based on multi leaderships of particular sects. We don't have even those leaderships in Syria. Even though it looks like we may, like let's say in Suwaida, some religious figures are coming to the fore, but they don't command enough leadership to bring everyone on board. This is just temporary because the population there doesn't have anyone else to speak in their name, so they would resort to the traditional leadership. But I have so many friends in Suwaida. They're very kind of secular. They will never see themselves represented fully by a religious figure. So moving forward, the new authority have immense challenge to create a new country where people are seen as equal citizens, regardless of their sect or ethnic background, and that will have to to come in steps. They have to reassure many of the people of different backgrounds, and key to this is the security sector. It's really how they design the security sector, how decentralized it is. So actually, the communities, wherever they are, they feel secure because the people guarding them come from within, from inside. Even if you make them accountable to a central government, you have to, central coordination, that's fine, but people have to have the security. Until now, the new government is refusing to fully decentralize the security sector. They're doing it slowly in some areas, but it's yet to be designed based on that vision.
Yeah, along with this kind of fragmentation, the war in Syria has been a human, social, and economic tragedy. It seems now the goal is to promote recovery and reconstruction through foreign investment. And in this field, I would like to know how important it is to complete the removal of sanction to achieve this.
The removal of sanction is essential. We cannot pick up the country, we cannot restart the economy without removal of all the sanctions, not just the sanctions, any obstacle that is preventing the reintegration of Syria in the international financial system. However, lifting the sanctions on its own is not going to rescue the country. It's actually going to expose the sad reality. Because let's look at the financial infrastructure. For no matter what plans you have, if any external investor or donor, if they cannot wire the money to Syria, how are they going to do anything? So you need the financial sector to function. You need to be able to deal with it from abroad, to be able to transfer a huge amount of money. And the financial sector is, at the end of the day, is private. It's less moved by politics than other sectors, and it needs to see the real signs that gives it the confidence that they can deal with this country and with its banks. So let's say the Financial Action Task Force, for example, which sets all these issues, they need to see anti-money laundering system in place, financial crimes acts in place. They need to see the banks following all the procedures required. Otherwise, they will be immensely worried. If they don't see that, they're not going to move the grading of Syria from the gray list. And if they don't do that, their recommendations to all the international banks would be extra due diligence. And of course, the banks would be, why would we invest so much money for that extra due diligence? What's in it for us, right? So they would hesitate, and that would be an obstacle. So to create this trust, the authorities really need to look at the economy differently. Right now, they created many parallel systems, very worrying systems. It's not quite clear how are the decisions being taken in Syria and for the economy or the finance system. There are some excellent people on the front, like the governor of the Bank of Syria, the Minister of Finance or Economy. No issues with them, but there are people behind and structures behind that are the real decision makers. And the internationals know this, right? And they do worry. Also, still the Hawala system is still in place, so there will be worries about how the money is flowing. So if they don't take sincere steps to formalize the economy, make everything what we see is what we get. The Minister of Finance is the Minister of Finance. He is the decision maker on that, sector. If we don't see that, I'm afraid lifting the sanctions on its own is not going to do wonders.
Thank you very much. From a geopolitical perspective, looking at the broader picture, what kind of country is the new Syria? I mean, now it's out from the Iranian axis of resistance because Assad is no more. Is closely linked to Turkey for security reasons and the Gulf countries for economic and investments reasons and so on. It's seeking a kind of coexistence with Israel and good relations with neighbors like Lebanon, Iraq, and Jordan. And as we speak, President Ahmad Bashar is visiting Moscow to restart relations also with Russia. Is all this going to work, in your opinion?
Look, Syria historically, and I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of years, always been sensitive to the geopolitics and to the neighborhood and international politics because of its location, many other factors. It's quite complex. And Hafez Assad kind of managed to balance it for some time, but it's very tricky. And I think the new authorities are trying to play it smart, but I'm not sure they're going to pull it together. I'm afraid they're telling everyone what they would like to hear. But all these people, like Erdogan or MBS, they've been there for a long time, and they understand international politics and diplomacy much more than the new authority, which is very new to that front. And they know that you can tell me something, but you cannot deliver because you're saying the same to the other, to the opposing power. So I'm not 100% sure it's going to work. But what we can see right now is that Saudis are going to be big players. Turkey will always be a player, being an important neighbor in the north. Security arrangements with Israel are very important, but it's too early to talk about a political long-term agreement. With Iran, I think, we're far away, very, very far away from reestablishing the relationship. With Russia, there's a reality that everyone forgets. The Syrian army has been designed, trained, equipped by Russians. And part of this still exists. HTS inherited an army where all the weapons are made in Russia. You need to maintain, you need to train. So now they're realizing this, and the importance also of having strategic relations with Russia. So they're trying to strengthen the relationship. How is that going to work with having the US on the other side? I don't know.
Not to mention the energy sector. President Bashar just today said that all the infrastructure, the know-how of the Syrian energy sector is almost all made in Russia because the relation of the past year with the past regime. So it's a pragmatical approach, and we'll see if it's going to work or not. Thank you very much for joining us and for this very insightful conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.